Hello everybody, it's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on October 20th, 2025. So I hope everybody's doing well, had a good weekend, and remember to hit the thumbs up and subscribe and receive notifications with the little bell there. Now, a subscriber sent me a quick email, and the subject heading was shadow people. Every once in a while he'll send me some comments and he says I can share it on the channel. A lot of people tend to not leave comments in the comments section, but will send them to me privately. So what he said is shadow people, schizophrenic voices, and amphetamine by Jerry Merzinski. Found the first part fascinating, how shadow people need stress and negative energy to feed off of. That reminds me of psychic vampires that feed off of your energy, negative or positive. He goes on to say the program, it must have been based on this shadow concept going back eons. The American Indians, or the Native Americans, call them the Watchers, which is double interesting. Now, in Carlos Castaneda's series, Teachings of Don Juan, he did also mention shadow people. So I found that to be really interesting because shadow people, well, I know I've got them on my property. They're not really shadows. They're cloaked. They're wearing cloaking devices. They're wearing invisibility suits. So they will show up because they are people. They set off the motion sensor lights. You might not be able to see them there, but with the infrared light you can see an aura or a line around them, and they do have feet. They do walk around. They do make crunchy noises on the grass. So you have to wonder if the Native Americans, well, of course this is going back generations, are very in tune to the earth and the environment and the trees and the sounds and the birds, etc. So perhaps they saw things a little differently. So I decided to ask ChatGPT. I said, can you tell me a little bit about the Watchers in Native American history? It may also be called shadow people. So Chat says, that's a fascinating and complex topic, one that spans Native American oral traditions, spiritual beliefs, and modern paranormal interpretations. So the term Watchers or shadow people is not uniform across tribes, but it appears in many indigenous cosmologies under different names, sometimes representing ancestral spirits, guardians, or beings that exist between worlds. So below is a balanced overview from both cultural and symbolic perspectives. So the first one is the Watchers in Native American traditions. Across many nations, Watchers are described as spirit beings who observe and protect through their intent, benevolent or malevolent. It can vary depending on the story and the individual's spiritual state. Some of the examples are the Hopi and Zuni traditions. They speak of Kachinas, supernatural beings who observe human behavior and intervene to maintain harmony and moral order. They're considered to be messengers between the spiritual and physical worlds. Then there's Lakota and Sioux. They refer to the shadow walkers or spirit shadows, which could appear in dreams or at the edge of one's vision. So, like in your peripheral vision. They may represent unresolved ancestors or guardians warning of imbalance in one's life. Then there's the Navajo. Stories sometimes describe Chini or skinwalker shadows, dark forms seen moving at night. These are not watchers in the benevolent sense, but shape-shifting entities often linked to sorcery or taboo-breaking behavior. The witchy poos. Then there's the Cherokee. They speak of Nunehi, the people who live anywhere. They are invisible spiritual guardians who watch over sacred places and those who respect nature. They may appear as shadows or lights to warn and protect. Then in the Algonquin and Iroquois peoples, they described shadow souls as part of the spirit that lingers after death, watching over descendants or territory until it is ready to move on. So some of the symbolic meaning is that in tradition, seeing or sensing a shadow figure was not automatically negative. It could mean that it's a guardian, an ancestor trying to get your attention, a reminder of balance between the seen and unseen worlds, a warning about spiritual imbalance, fear, or grief. Shamans and medicine people often understood shadows as manifestations of spirit energy appearing as dark outlines because they exist in a different vibrational frequency than visible light. And that's really interesting because we know that the cloaking devices, the invisibility suits, also work on vibrational frequencies and refraction of light. So now the modern shadow people phenomenon, especially in paranormal and psychological discussions, people report will seeing dark, human-shaped figures in their peripheral vision. Sometimes during stress, trauma, or hypnagogic, like a half-sleep state. And as a targeted person, if you're a targeted person, targeted people endure a lot of stress, a lot of trauma, trauma-based mind control, satanic ritual abuse. So in your peripheral vision, you might see a shadow or darkness. Some native elders interpret this as a thinning of the veil, meaning your awareness is crossing into the spirit realm. Others view it as a projection of fear or unresolved emotion. And then there are spiritual practices of protection. Traditional methods used to maintain spiritual balance and keep harmful shadows away include smudging with sage, cedar, or sweetgrass, drumming or chanting to raise the vibration and call protective spirits, maintaining light and fire symbolically and literally to dispel shadowy energy, speaking to the ancestors and leaving offerings like cornmeal, tobacco, and water, living in harmony with nature, and maintaining a clean heart. This is an important note on respect. Each tribe's cosmology is unique. The concept of watchers or shadow people in native belief should be treated with cultural respect and not merged wholesale with modern paranormal lore, which often removes context and sacred meaning. So I thought that was really interesting because these shadow people in modern day, like if you're a targeted person and you're experiencing shadows in your peripheral vision, if you're seeing shadows on your property, in your house or whatever, and you feel that it's because of stress creating this negative energy. Now, if you mention this to somebody, they're going to put you in a loony bin, right? So, it's all based upon context. But historically, people have been speaking about shadow people and these watchers throughout history. And we all know that we're all being watched by the watchers. So our modern day watchers are psychopaths. Anyway, leave a comment down below. This is Lorraine Alternative of Homesteading. Are you being watched by shadow people, or just the watchers, or schizophrenic voices, or psychopaths? Signing off for now.